you no shame? Whining about...
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a... No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game.
See? Your munching and complaining have ruined my concentration.
Could the objective of the game be to throw the metal ball so it...
Ah, mon Dieu. The pain in my back is unbearable.
I hope you pass out from it.
Trying to throw something as close to a predetermined point as... Shush. Ignore them. They don't know what they're doing. They're old. You are letting down yourself and the team. Get in the damn... Does it matter what team? Pick a team. Any team. The blue team. You're letting them down. Get in the game and throw the goddamn ball. Eyes on the ball, Dinky Winky. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter. You'll make... A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All set. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. It has a pattern. Already your muscles are adjusting to the weight. The nervous system calibrating until you and the ball have merged. A whorehouse of shit. It wasn't whorehouse of shit.
What the hell is your problem? I don't care if you are a cop. You do not just ruin someone's game. It's so goddamn disrespectful. You vandalized our game, son. We can't play pétanque with 5 bull. No, we are not good, goddammit.
Take it easy, René. This is just a
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug. You are good. Mistakes are forgiven.
Yes. Why did you come here? You never know. He might know something. This is a good vantage point.
Unfortunately, I don't. In Martinez, the union is the law. So can you... Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with...
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing...
If I knew, I would not be afraid to tell you.
'Tis true, sire. He knows nothing. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. Why? What's this? A headless man.
Oh, that's the headless phone rider. The headless phone rider. It's an urban 50 cents. Bargain price.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Yes, officer. As you...
His manner is casual.
It was brought to me to be...
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it. The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
It's not often that I see officers from the army. What can I do for you? I haven't had any problems myself.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug maybe. Okay, he definitely is high. Looking at his wares, talking to him, that might give you more clues.
I doubt it, but I can try and I do my best to keep my distance from all.
He doesn't know anything. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing cup. A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous...
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating this.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey...
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to... Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish... Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever, you pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks again. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the... Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? There's a pile of cheap sunglasses.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched.
I can see you with taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph. You see a Samaran street vendor. The name, Sileng, is in...
Happy shopping, officer. Everything's cool here. Everything's cool. The goods are cool. You're very cool.
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout brewing.
What? No finger pistols, officer? Pew pew!
The lieutenant nods.
You're right, officer. 100%. No playing around then. Strictly business. Maybe I can interest you in some premium menswear instead.
No need to dress this way.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? Ah, yes. Lord...
Are you trying to ask for a bribe? If so...
Sorry, detective. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits?
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
It is! Practically free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why? No problem here, officer. I get all this from...
Wait. Humanex. Humanitarian aid.
What?
A convincing performance. Bravo.
Look, officer. I'm just a retailer. You'd have to...
Interesting.
Me? It's a boring story, officer.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
That's right, officer. But it's a bad scene for business there. Hey! Why not support this local entrepreneur? You can start by buying a pair of sexy pants.
The worn and beaten...
We can sit on benches after.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to...
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible.
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruin in a coin-operated viewer. It took... This coin-operated viewer is facing south. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war. They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it...
The lieutenant adjusts his collar. It's frisky outside. You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme.
We will remove the body as soon as possible.
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more...
Last week? I don't know. Look.
It'll take more than rain to bring this...
You didn't answer the question.
It was my Sunday friend.
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the...
My name? My name is Martin.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice? No. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from... For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost...
I am sorry, but I really don't have the...
But, hold on. What's that? For a split second, it's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over. If we find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
A stone, like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet, and there's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. We'll just have to go in and see.
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century, and even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist because white is the color of peace. Nothing at all yet, right? This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the boards. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture.
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, what do you want from me?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's...
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See?
What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That one didn't have a door. Sadly, nothing of great value remains here. Indeed.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you.
A brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism. That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. Red dyed heavy fuel oil is only used in government vehicles, or at least that's the idea. The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult. The woman on the boat does not notice.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know?
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock. You ain't seen nothing yet, piggy boo. Watch your back, ungulate.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Number 28. This is where the...
Let's see if anyone's home. No
one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch... We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. About...
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone. Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from... I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel, there is strength there.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the...
That is good to hear, madame.
There's a trace of irony in it happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the loop...
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full... what we do. I'm afraid I don't...
There was a touch of discomfort there.
The Pines' core competency is logistics, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and...
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholi, Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity, no.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 7... A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and centuries of care, deliberation and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass... You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8%? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to sign it.
The octopus that straddles Revachon, the Emergencies Act, is the corner.
Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of...
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in...
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all...
Wait, she just admitted that...
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist... Yes, I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first...
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was...
But the strike began in...
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall.
This isn't the first time the union has...
Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union...
Ludicrous, even. It's meant.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. Every worker, a member of...
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Then you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy. Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker, a member of the board. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines Group makes a decision about what? About anything, really, it needs... Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are... They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical... I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tack... And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous...
Excuse me. From whom did you hear?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one who was very...
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of...
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrog? Come...
Don't let her answer it herself.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company...
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a...
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he...
If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black tree. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, the Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter election.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concession... And your opinion, detective, if I may ask. I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the day... Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However, I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter election.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was... The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things...
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Mr. Clare told him to... How... Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before. Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, and this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't...
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia? I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't...
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he...
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've...
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course. But before we do, officers, the situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. Of course, Detective.
Volumetric ship compressor. Bizarre scientific news from Revachol West today, where a...
still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run. And it's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos, and tendons. The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique, A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's clearly some manner of super armor, or
ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. Under the heel. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. The locals probably scavenged it. It would be odd if he had more arm after. We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe he'll know something. No, he must have worn something precious underneath his clothes. They've removed all his clothes to get to it. They did not just strip him for the putrid rags. They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties, and the like.
Fucking talking about
Clearly, Kuno would like to interject something here, but there's not enough for him to hold on to.
That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
A small bell-like sound fills.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly... If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections. The whirls are in the shape of a letter and number combination. E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678222.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us. It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabulary is deemed for a full set, about 4...
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
As a wage, it's regrettably small, but for a piece of hardware, yes, that's a lot.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His torso, The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for
airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. The brief suggested as much, politically motivated by the ongoing strike. Did you not get a briefing? Then you should ask me the first moment we get. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think...
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt. Limbs limp. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great Century Messinian, maybe.
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through...
So am I.
He wears a wide leather belt around his waist and a gun holster under his... He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the...
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only 1 ampoule left.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Here, a souvenir. Don't lose it.
The glossy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their socket. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable. The corpse is dead silent.
Who is he? He is male, 40 to 50, with an athletic build.
The corpse looks right through you as you distance yourself from its stench. Eyes. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green,
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant.
So, what do you think? Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports her hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents...
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal-like.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Maybe.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostril.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His torso, the material appears delicate and fragile. These are clearly not boots. The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His torso covered in tattoos.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good...
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case.
I would really prefer if there was another way. These people might have an agenda.
Okay, they do have the tools and the men. And since it looks like they put him there...
But what other options? The corpse twists on the belt, like chicken on a skewer.
Yeah! Bang bang time!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release...
Yeah, now we're talking. And
they'll miss! The pigs will miss, Kuno!
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 armistice. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is...
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenement.
God damn it.
A lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's desk was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised.
Fucking idiot!
Kuno could have hit it easy. But then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
Okay, they do have the tools and the men. And since it looks like they put him there... Okay, let's do it in the lousy, dangerous way. From the gates, by negotiating or fighting. I'm unenthusiastic about fighting. Or we can try to find some secret third path. It's unlikely though.
To the gates. Let's negotiate.
To ask the suspect for help with the victim's body? To be indebted to Everard Clare? Very much, yeah. Clearly we can't.
Suck my dick, bitches!
He's a dangerous and corrupt man, and we cannot predict what he will want from us in return.
Yeah? Don't go being someone else's bitches. You're Kuno's bitches.
Ah, yes. The case brief you missed. Now I remember. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics, a security guard or worker of some sort hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martin. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing. That's right. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case.
The lieutenant adjusts his collar. It doesn't look like he wants the case.
I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a... You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecile cop-off. It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street... Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off.
So, he volunteered to represent the 57th. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are 2 columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills.
Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here.
It's all part of the master plan, you see. The silence carries.
Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. Of course, it's only a theory. No response. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs? Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity, and a geographic...
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul.
A point of pride to him.
Good. Let's change the subject. What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about the... During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to... Good.